Alrighty, yo, what is going on everybody? It's your boy Mr. DDG94 back with another reaction video. Today we finna react to top 30 worst movies based on video games. This should be very interesting. All video game movies are not bad, but they're not good. So a lot of them are terrible adaptations because you're taking unrealistic elements and trying to bring them into a realistic world on the big screen, and it just don't work. And so, or sometimes it's just a money grab. Uh, Case in point, I remember watching Max Payne. That shit was terrible. Max Payne was fucking god awful. Uh, there have been some that have been okay. I would probably say Mortal Kombat besides Annihilation. Let's not talk about Annihilation, but the Mortal Kombat movies is okay, minus Annihilation. What's another one? I think what's another one? I can't really think of any other. Oh, Sonic the Hedgehog movie is pretty good. Um, I can't really think of any more that's good. The only good thing though is we haven't gotten a Grand Theft Auto. We haven't gotten a Grand Theft Auto movie yet. Thankfully, we haven't gotten a Grand Theft Auto movie yet. Even though San Andreas would probably go crazy. A San Andreas or Vice City movie would probably go crazy because those are made for Hollywood. Those type of movies are made for Hollywood. Even GTA 4 is made for Hollywood, but like 5, the stories, and GTA 3, yeah, they wouldn't work. In my personal opinion, they wouldn't work. But anyways, though, without further ado, let's get right into it.
This is a mining journal left behind by a corporate bureaucrat. He cataloged everything the miners brought in, most of it useless.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 30 most abysmal, dreadful, god-awful movies based on video games.
Hey.
Will we ever reach near tranquility with video game adaptations?
It needs to be big, so we can all fit inside.
Number 30, Tekken.
You put me in charge of security, remember, Father?
God awful.
Answer to me.
For a martial arts movie, Tekken isn't the worst thing we've seen. For a movie based on the acclaimed 3D fighting franchise, is everything a fan would never want from a Tekken movie, as it completely ignores the franchise's story in favor of something original. Jin is some street punk doing contraband runs and is trained by Steve Fox, even though Jin does karate whereas Steve practices boxing. Christy Montero and Eddie Gordo have nothing to do with each other, despite having a whole story between mentor and master in the games. But are the fights at least good? Well, we couldn't tell. The camera wouldn't stop shaking for us to appreciate whatever choreography there might have been.
Who are you anyway?
Name's Jin.
So you're the people's choice.
Number 29, Uncharted.
Yeah, this was terrible.
If you're looking for a cheap popcorn flick, perhaps Uncharted wasn't as bad as fans were making it out to be. But that's if you aren't a fan of the games in the first place. Almost nothing about this movie felt like Uncharted until the very end of the movie. And by that point, it was too little too late.
Facts.
Uncharted spent too long relishing in heist tropes, being annoyingly mysterious about character motives.
It took me 5 times to watch this movie, bro, because I could never make it through it, bro. I fall asleep, bro. That's how boring this movie was. This movie's so fucking boring. I kept falling asleep during it, bro. I can't even lie to y'all, bro. This movie is fucking boring. Like, if you gonna sit through it, then you gonna sit through it. Me personally, I couldn't sit through it, bro. It took me 5 times to finish this goddamn movie.
And making very, very few allusions to the games outside of Nolan North's cameo. Separated from the games, maybe, Uncharted is decent at best. Unfortunately, it's hard to ignore how much it deviates from the games when every game in the franchise is basically a playable movie in itself. And they're playable movies with great writing and pacing.
Hey, you starting to figure it out, kid? Yeah, learn from the best. You got a heart of gold, Sully.
Number 28, Heavenly Sword.
The Great War will come and we will fall because of you, Noriko.
This oft-forgotten animated movie should have been a hit. It has a great cast, with some actors having already played their respective roles in the 2007 video game, but it's literally everything else that made it fall apart. The story makes no sense, the music gives the movie no identity, and worse, the animation makes Mars Needs Moms look like a Da Vinci painting. If Sony had enough confidence in the IP to make a movie adaptation 7 years after the game came out, you would think more time, money, and effort would have gone into this. Alas, no. And now it's hard to say if we'll ever see Noriko ever again.
I love you, sister.
They could have just made a sequel or another game.
Number 27,
That was
the
good.
Angry Birds movie.
I mean, what are we talking about here? He probably doesn't even remember me.
There isn't much
This was made for kids, so I can't really jump on it. It was made for kids. It was made for the It was made for the audience that was targeted.
of a story to Angry Birds. You just launch birds with different powers to defeat evil green pigs. What reason is there to make a movie? Well, if you wanted yet another corny family-friendly movie with a cast loaded with SNL alumni, you got your wish here. Even though the Angry Birds movie has its moments, the star power and uninteresting plot make it feel more like a cash grab project. The young ones may have had their fun with this, but for the grown-ups, there were better options to waste an hour and a half.
Well, you know what? I guess you win.
What?
Number 26, Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City.
Funny. After you ran away, William was the closest thing I had to family.
Look, the Paul W.S. Anderson movie may not be the Resident Evil movies we wanted, but there are some redeeming qualities when you watch them as cheesy action horror flicks. Besides, they are way better than whatever we're getting with Welcome to Raccoon City. Once again, Resident Evil's own unique story is sidelined for something else entirely, and the plot does nothing to garner interest in the IP. Every one of our favorite characters is unlikable to the very end and given no proper motives or development at any point in the 107-minute runtime. There's just no room for Raccoon City in the world of TV and movies.
Oh, shit!
Number 25, Five Nights at Freddy's.
Thank you for playing with me.
Okay, Abby, come on.
Just when I thought this was gonna be something because they had Corey Kitchen in it. Wasted my goddamn time.
That shit is fucking trash, dog. Get the fuck off the airway.
Try!
Wasting my goddamn time. I want my damn money back too.
Whereas Uncharted frustrated many fans, Five Nights at Freddy's pleased many fans, but only the fans. There are aspects to Five Nights at Freddy's that can be appreciated between the production designs and faithfulness to the IP. However, those who know nothing about the games were taken for what felt like an erratic ride for a horror movie. Dead kids haunting the bodies of animatronics, everyone seemingly knowing about this cursed pizzeria, yet no one wanting to tear it down, and the whole twist with Vanessa towards the end felt haphazardly thrown together. Couldn't this just have been a one-man movie in the same vein as 1408 or something? Again, lore-fueled fanatics might have loved the movie, but for others, well, let's hope the sequel has more focus, huh?
Look at the nasty things that you have become. Look how small you are, how worthless you are. You are wretched, rotten little beast.
Number 24, Ratchet and Clank.
I can take anything you can dish out, so bring it on.
Ideally, Ratchet and Clank could work very well as a movie. Unfortunately, this was not the tale of a Lombax and robot we needed. Credit where it's due, the animation here is pretty solid and fits.
When did a Ratchet and Clank movie come out? I never knew that a movie for this came out. So when did Ratchet and Clank ever get a movie? Because I'm confused.
The style of the games from Insomniac. Plus, we respect the decision to keep the original voice cast. Unfortunately, the plot was super thin, with Chairman Drek having no motive outside of being a corporate overlord, and Quark being even more of an egomaniac than he is in the games. Even with a 90-minute runtime, come on, you could have told a compelling sci-fi epic with this IP. Was there any semblance of structure in the story during pre-production that could have added more depth to the characters? Oh, well, shoulda, coulda, woulda, but didn't.
Yeah, Clank, you're a real wild one.
Speaking of which, am I to assume that you have retired from the Galactic Rangers?
Nah, once a ranger, always a ranger.
Number 23, Monster Hunter.
Do you have any idea what they are? Sergeant Davis, I'm a ranger, not an archaeologist.
Copy that.
We all know what Monster Hunter is, right? Yeah, it's the fantasy action RPG where you and 3 friends can explore exotic locations to fight colossal beasts together. So in the synopsis, where is the part where we mention something about the US Army going isekai and being transported to another world? What's frustrating about Monster Hunter is the fact that the movie clearly knows the IP, its world, and its characters. Why else would it use the same monsters and weapons as the games? And yet it opts to use entirely different characters from a world that would never be seen in a Monster Hunter game, as well as some of the most boring environments that look nothing like the worlds we've seen in the games. Who was this movie for exactly, if not for the fans?
When did they make a Monster Hunter?
Number 22, Doom Annihilation.
Nevada, Dr. Barnes has made it to Phobos.
To its credit, Annihilation at least pulled a few threads from both the old and new Doom games, but only in shoutouts and lore. Does it boast the same intense action, horrific imagery, and garish depiction of hell? Well, in a half-assed fashion, maybe. Actually, quarter-assed. From the get-go, you can smell how cheap Universal went on the budget with constantly reused set pieces, poor direction, and a story that constantly meanders and kills off its cast with little to no warning. Plus, the whole pointless symbolism with our main character, Joan d'Arc. Do you get it? Do you get the symbolism? Joan d'Arc? Joan of Arc? Do you get it? Do you get it? Number 21, Borderlands.
Hey, easy. What do you say, man? You be friends.
It's been quite some time since we saw a video game movie bomb as severely as Borderlands did. There was not a soul on Earth that wanted this to happen, yet it somehow went through its entire production. Borderlands not only made questionable decisions with its casting and writing, its humor and lack of meaningful plot was kind of a window into why most folks don't like or don't even care for Borderlands anymore. Never before had we seen Lilith, Tiny Tina, and Claptrap at their most annoying points, and after this, some fans were left questioning if it was time to move on from the world of Pandora. Number 20, Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. In another case of what might have been, Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time had the potential to be a thoroughly enjoyable film.
You flatter yourself, Prince.
And you used to be a better liar, Princess.
Critic Brian Tellerico summed up our disappointment best, though, writing, quote, "Imagine watching someone else play a video game while another guy narrates it. The characters, despite their decent casting, are stereotypical, the plot is confusing and ridiculous, and the ending is highly predictable." It's a watchable film, however, so at least there's that. Coming off the vastly superior Sands of Time game, however, it could have been so much more.
I have some explaining to do, Taz.
No.
Number 19, Resident Evil: The Final Chapter. The Resident Evil film series contains 6 entries, none of which were well received critically. The final film isn't an exception, and they didn't exactly save the best for last.
We don't have long. Let's get to it.
For some odd reason in the hood, though, we fuck with these. I don't know why. In the hood, we fuck with these, and I can't explain why we fuck with them, but we just fuck with them. In the hood, we just fuck with them. I can't understand why.
We?
I can't explain, bro.
As critic Donald Clark put it, quote, "The film is 20% boring plot talk and 80% even more boring action. The film itself was widely panned for being dull and sloppy, while the action proved too dark to make out." Unfortunately, more than one critic theorized that this would most likely be a never-ending franchise, despite the word final in the title.
You can't use it! You can't escape!
Number 18, DOA, Dead or Alive. Making a movie out of an arena fighting game is difficult, and DOA is a prime example.
Princess, allow me to go first.
The games were praised for their environments, gameplay, and impressive graphics. The movie was not, to put it generously. Cited by many critics as an excuse to show hot girls doing martial arts, the film was not much more than that.
Hayate is in both our hearts. Help me find out what happened to him.
I suppose watching this on mute would be a good idea if babes and kung fu are your thing. For anyone who wants something of substance, though, Dead on Arrival would have been a more appropriate title.
You will win, DOA. You're the best in the world.
Thank you.
Number 17, Need for Speed.
Hey, this was good,
Racing is
though.
fun. Cars are cool. These were two things.
Hold up. This was good.
Really, nigga?
I fucked with this. I fucks with this. I thought this was pretty good. I fucks with this. I don't agree with this being on this list.
Things that spawned the film adaptation of Need for Speed. Making a feature film out of a racing game is essentially about as practical as making one out of a classic board game. Critics were generally displeased with the film, calling it boring and lacking in character development, some going as far as to say the cars are its strongest point. It's not surprising that a decent movie couldn't be made out of a car-go-fast video game. On the heels of Breaking Bad, Aaron Paul's big screen vehicle sadly turned out to be a lemon.
I'm fine.
This is for Pete.
Number 16, Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life. What to do when the first installment of a film gets a lackluster Rotten Tomatoes score? Make a sequel, of course. The Cradle of Life wasn't much of an improvement, which is a shame.
Lara, you okay?
Lara, all right.
This is very touching.
The Tomb Raider games are beloved by players, and the anticipation for film adaptations was surely high. It's becoming a bit of a pattern at this point. The characters in The Cradle of Life were underdeveloped, leading to a lack of engagement in the plot. Also, Lara Croft literally punches a badly CGI'd shark in the film. Insert your own jumping the shark references here. Number 15, Assassin's Creed. The Assassin's Creed game franchise is massive, rich in history and narrative, and contains some beloved, interesting characters. The film is none of these things.
Yeah. The party's just getting started.
It switches back and forth from past to present, much like the games, yet makes a muddled mess of plots or non-plots. It is very well cast, but it seems that the A-list actors were bored and uninvested in the parts. One possible issue is that the film strayed too far from the source material and got lost. The games are so rich and ripe to be farmed, yet nothing other than a couple of nods to the main gameplay staples were even seen in the film. And what the heck did you do to the Animus? Number 14, Max Payne. We'll try to avoid the obvious puns with the movie title here. Another video game adaptation attempt, 2008's Max Payne provided its audience a painful experience. Sorry, it's too easy.
What do you know? Wait.
The film was fairly dull, focusing entirely on the visuals rather than the dialogue and acting. Think Sin City, but not good. Critic David Hogan went as far as to say the character of Max was better acted in the video game.
Look, my partner was killed too. We're both looking for the same person.
Yeah, you.
It's probably easy to get carried away with visuals in these projects, as players expect to see frequent nods to their favorite games. Max Payne did impress with photography and general ambiance, but failed everywhere else. Number 13, Street Fighter. Fans of the classic game were not pleased with the multiple character changes in this adaptation. Street Fighter the movie is filled with cheesy one-liners, a muddled storyline, and takes way too many liberties with character deviations.
What have they done to you?
Charlie.
We're talking entire character backstories thrown out and rewritten. One example is that Van Damme's character is supposed to be quintessentially all-American. The issue here is obvious.
Hey, I would love to, but some moron just scanned me.
The film's one redeeming quality is the late Raul Julia's over-the-top performance as villain General M. Bison. Despite the campy source material, Julia delivered a professional and theatrically acclaimed performance. The film was his last, unfortunately.
Of course!
Number 12, Silent Hill Revelation. Film critic Marv Savlov, giving the film a 0 out of 5, sums up this film quite nicely. Quote, enduring this botched video game-based nightmare is like sleepwalking into the world's dullest Halloween party. The film's first installment had more than twice the budget of its sequel, and a far less convoluted plot to follow, yet it still didn't earn high praise. Thus, why not make a sequel and introduce a confusing cult subplot? We have a theory. This film and its predecessor did badly because Sean Bean survived both films.
I'll be there as soon as I can.
In order for a film to be canonized in the Hollywood ranks, should it boast Sean Bean in the cast? Sean Bean must die in the film. It's a scientific fact. Learn from it.
Vincent, look after my little girl, you hear?
Number 11, Warcraft. Though this film was praised for its visual beauty and performances, it was panned for its lack of an interesting plot. We're beginning to see a pattern here.
Whatever happens.
Whatever happens.
Fans of the game were awestruck by the scenery and likeness to the general atmosphere of the playable version. The orcs are very well rendered and the lands beautifully displayed, but there was room for far more character and story development to be had from the games of origin.
How much do you love your master?
What Warcraft did have going for it is the fact that those unfamiliar with the games could still enjoy the film. That, however, doesn't mean they did. Number 10, Doom. The Doom series has been a staple of gaming since 1993. With a long-running collection of games, you'd think the film would stick to the source material.
Not this time, John.
What?
We can handle this.
You're bullshitting me.
For example, the creatures in the game Doom were simply demons from hell, and not genetically transformed humans. The wormhole idea is also one of the filmmakers and just adds unnecessary complexity to an otherwise simple concept. The film's one redeeming quality is the first-person shooter sequence, a direct homage to the games. The sequence took 3 months of careful planning and 14 days of shooting. With that much meticulous attention to one scene, perhaps the filmmakers overlooked everything else. Number 9, Hitman Agent 47. 2007's Hitman film was a flop, garnering less than 20% on Rotten Tomatoes. So let's try again. Change up the cast, etc. And now it's less than 10%.
What exactly are you?
An assassin.
An assassin. Okay.
At least the original film was deemed terrible but watchable. This film was a collage of mindless, trashy action sequences, not to mention a bore. It's unfortunate because lead actor Rupert Friend did all his homework for the role. He studied more than one fighting style, knife fighting skills, and judo, as well as performed most of his own stunts. It's a shame the rest of the crew couldn't put in as dedicated an effort to produce a quality film to complement Friend's talents.
Pretty crazy, huh?
Number 8, Double Dragon. Despite it being in many 90s kids' memories, Variety's critic Brian Lowry referred to Double Dragon as, quote, high-energy, low-IQ, futuristic slugfest. It depicts the story of two brothers who share zero resemblance.
Nice hair, dude.
Jimmy, Billy, run!
Stop them!
You know, they were twins in the game, right? The film did feature some decent special effects, but the actors' performances were really amateurish, the dialogue campy, and the story too simplistic.
Don't act dumb!
I'm not acting.
Another problem is that the director intended it to be for kids, although it was still given a PG-13 rating. Expectations are different in the older audience category. Keep this one in your childhood memories. Don't watch it now.
Piece of junk. I could do better without you.
Number 7, Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li. It seems exceedingly difficult to make a decent Street Fighter film. The 2009 film made viewers wish Van Damme had made a sequel.
When people are hungry, there's nothing they won't do.
Famed film critic Leonard Maltin claimed that Legend of Chun-Li made the original Street Fighter film seem like Citizen Kane. Oof. Contrary to some of the entries on our list, this film has no redeeming qualities.
Just tell me where he is.
You don't know what you're up against. Let me show you.
Even the fight scenes, which are often primary focus in these movies, are poorly choreographed, as is seemingly custom in the films on our list. The screenplay is also subject to ridicule. If you're a fan of the Street Fighter franchise, stick to the games.
You think this is over?
No, I'm just getting started.
Number 6, In the Name of the King, A Dungeon Siege Tale. Based on the popular Dungeon Siege games, this film boasts an abysmal rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Believe it or not, that's not even the worst score for the notoriously terrible director Uwe Boll, who typically finances his own films.
Well, I'm a man with spirit.
This film stars Jason Statham as the farmer protagonist and a slew of desperate-for-work actors of 1990s fame. But whom, you may ask, plays the titular king? Why, Burt Reynolds, of course. Yes, Burt Reynolds.
How do you know these things?
because I am king.
You'll regret watching this forgettable, campy pile of garbage, so maybe read a book or something instead.
Get him out of my sight.
Number 5, Super Mario Brothers. Come on, now you didn't think we'd leave this one out, right? The Super Mario Brothers film is infamously terrible, with a production wrought with hardships, unhappy actors, and inexperienced directors.
But I didn't do that! Are you telling us that you're gonna arrest the guy for being a plumber? Get out!
I watched this one time, and that was it. One time, and I think that was back in 2005. I caught this on HBO. I said, let me watch this. This is Super Mario and Luigi. Let me watch this. After I watched it, I don't think I'll be watching this again.
Hear me good, nigga. I'm here to double down. That shit is a 2-pack of ass. The fuck are you talking about? That shit stinks.
The studio demanded so many changes in the script that the end result was an almost non-existent plot, flashy, nonsensical scenes, and an overall experience that made us wish we were watching the TV show again.
All right. Come on. Come and get it.
The film strays too far from the game and is bound to disappoint any Mario-phile. Celebrated thespian Bob Hoskins called it the worst thing he ever did, claiming that he and John Leguizamo would drink before and during the job in order to endure the torture. Number 4, Blood Rain. 2006's Blood Rain is another disaster from Uwe Boll, but still somehow not his worst. By this point, it becomes clear that adapting a simple shooter video game to the screen is a bad idea.
Why did you save us?
I don't know.
The fight scenes are basically editing nightmares, with clearly untrained actors being cut and pasted into oblivion. Boll's decisions are most likely the problem here. The man hired actual prostitutes for one scene to save on money. The standard for this one were obviously quite low. Wait, is that Ben Kingsley? What are you doing here? Number 3, House of the Dead. This film was directed by Uwe Boll again, and there's still one on this list that ranks even higher. It never ends with this guy. House of the Dead doesn't exactly feature any known actors, contrary to some of Boll's others. It's a zombie film with some young, reckless people fighting the undead on an island and a boat.
I think something bad's happened here. Like what?
That is all. There's no plot to be had, so fans of the actual narrative in films beware. Critic David Keyes claimed that the film made him, quote, weeping for the future of the industry. Honestly, we can't really expect much more from a film based on a Sega arcade game.
What the hell was that thing? Our best friend. Not anymore.
Number 2, Alone in the Dark. This is it. Uwe Boll's absolute worst video game adaptation. Honestly, we think we're being generous by only ranking it number 2.
I thought you were dead, you asshole.
The film was intended to be released at the same time as Eden Games' Alone in the Dark 5. However, the studio drew back and delayed the release of the game, reworking the entire thing. Suspicious? No one likes this film. It is a brain-dead, unintentionally funny mess. The game, at least, had some scary moments. The film is just an empty waste of time. It's usually a good indication that the film will be subpar when actors you haven't really seen since the 90s headline the performances and you say, oh yeah, that guy. But still, Christian Slater deserves better than this. Number 1, Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
I knew
the
it.
original Mortal Kombat.
I knew it. I fucking knew this was probably gonna be number 1. We don't talk about Annihilation, bruh. We don't talk about Annihilation, bruh. We don't talk about that. We on that one. We quiet about that one. We sneaky about that one.
God damn it! Ah!
We ain't supposed to talk about this one, bro. We're supposed to let it go, bro.
Oh, hell no!
Or, here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up.
But if we gotta bring it up, we gotta bring it up. Oh boy.
That film set a fairly low bar for its sequel, but the filmmakers seem to have misunderstood that you need to go above the bar, not win a limbo championship. The original film at least seemed badass, probably mostly due to the theme song. The sequel is a thing. This film has it all. Terrible acting, unnecessary and inexplicably awful special effects, kicks and punches and punches and kicks.
I can't take too much more of this.
That pretty much sums it up. The franchise was supposed to produce 3 films, but this film was so bad that the 3rd installment was canceled. What's the worst movie based on a video game you've seen? Let us know down in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Watch Mojo.
Alrighty, man. Let's just go about do it for this one, man. Yeah. This is Mortal Kombat Annihilation, bro.
Hear me and hear me good, nigga. I'm here to double down. That shit is a 2-pack of ass. The fuck are you talking about? That shit stinks.